I'm the academic dean for criminal justice, that's not my background. I spent 28 years in the military, retiring as a colonel. I was a Corps of Engineer guy. But one of the things that we did throughout those 28 years is we tried to set up our training and create habitual relationships with those people that we were going to potentially fight for or fight with. And it's kind of like how I look at the police and community engagement piece. You know, the police transparency, community transparency, know who you're talking to during the calm times, so when it becomes a little bit not so calm, you know who you can talk to get the message out. Okay? One of the key things we wanted to concentrate on in this panel was accentuating the positives. And you heard the chief did a great job. By the way, congratulations and thank you for what you did. Y'all did a wonderful job about bringing your best practices. But now I want to twist it a little bit. I always thought that it was better if you could look at something from the other side's point of view. So if I was a police officer and I wanted to figure out how to enhance community engagement, one thing I see right now is we're a little bit disengaged from our youth. And maybe the first time the youth sees a police officer is in a negative environment. So what I'd like to see is a way to get in the schools. How do we do that?
One of my students was on a ride-along and they made a DWI arrest of a roommate, for example. But I think you ought to get high school seniors on ride-alongs with police officers. It's such an eye-opening experience. So that's one of my suggestions right there.
Is that doable for your officers?
It's very doable. And to tell you the truth, it sort of aligns itself with our Explorer program that I talked about a little bit earlier. But of course, those are just the explorers, those individuals that were selected, so to speak, or parents, said, I want my child to be an explorer. From what you just said, Professor, I agree that that's an experience that we should be able to, ensure that other high school students have an opportunity to see what it is that officers have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And many times we're dealing with, young folks that look just like them.
Ride-alongs are definitely a part of what we do, not just with our Police Explorers, but with other programs that we run in the city, which leads me to We Run the City, which is a program that we started in the Division of Police that basically brings in kids that are a little different from our Police Explorer kids that have more challenges. And we put them in a 6-week program through our police academy with an outside civilian instructor who kind of put this thing together with the assistance of police officers to actually run the class. And the basis of the class is to...
Just real briefly from the Noble perspective, we have 2 programs, one of which is currently being tested in the Chicago Public Schools, and the other one is a long-standing running program that we've had, which is The Law and You. So we've had The Law and Your Community is the one that's school-based, which is about an 8-week program that's targeting middle school and high school students. And then The Law and You is one that we do as an individual session, and that is basically telling folks what you heard Chief Outlaw talk about earlier, and that is what to expect during that contact with the police. We talk about what your rights are and then what to expect.
Things have changed in law enforcement. They have changed considerably. In order for us to be impactful, we have to come out of our comfort zone and meet people where they are. Whether it's a homeless person, because I've met homeless people that used to be professors in college, and because of their circumstances, they ended up on the street. That doesn't mean that I'm supposed to talk to them any less than the professor that is currently working in an institution. So the culture, for me, the culture of the department helps to dictate how impactful we are in the community and dealing with our children. Thank you.
My name is Camilla Westingberg. I'm a retired English professor. And I want to throw something into the equation that is slightly different. Perhaps, just perhaps, we can reach our students through the arts. We can bridge the gap through the arts, because that's where the vast majority of our young people are. And I say that because in this room, there are 2 people who brought a film to me. Frank Rupp, and this gentleman is the producer and the director of it. It is titled Pressure. it deals with all of the instances that the police department has to deal with our youth. We showed it in this community to community leaders and to young people. The film is raw. It is raw. But it incited some dialogue that was truly provocative. And I invited the police department to come out to dialogue with them. We had to shut down and say, it's time to go. But it allowed them to come together, and it was in their turf because the film was designed in their turf. It was their language, their dress, and they understood it. And when I asked students, I had students to say to me, I wish my brother had seen it before he went to jail. I wish. So perhaps as we think in terms of ways of bridging, there are some other, my daughter did, when she was writing for the Arizona Republic with the police department, and she was one of the ones who went out, I guess, getting alcohol. And people were arrested, and she wrote it up. And that's a wonderful way. But I do think also the arts is another way, because that's where they are. And it has to be designed and constructed so that it is meaningful. But I propose that just perhaps it's a way to reach young.
Ma'am, what was the name of the film?
Our goal today is to discuss best practices, to actually have a dialogue that will hopefully create some information that all of these chiefs and everyone here can take back to the local communities and actually continue the dialogue. I think everyone here knows that what I believe is we're in a bit of a crisis right now. And if we don't do something, if we don't get started with the dialogue, not pointing the fingers at each other, but actually having a dialogue on exactly what we can do to provide solutions, and not just one solution, because one solution is not going to cure anything, but provide solutions and continuing a dialogue not only here but throughout the country, then that crisis will continue.